A few years ago, I met a Jewish sage who seemed to have discovered an invisible shortcut to wealth. Contrary to what many imagine, he did not show off luxury cars, did not talk about money all the time, and did not flaunt an extravagant lifestyle. However, everything he did seemed to multiply. While many around him struggled to pay the bills and lived in financial uncertainty, he moved forward safely, investing, growing, and, most curiously, helping others do the same. Intrigued, I asked him what his secret was. He smiled, paused, and revealed something that will change his life completely starting today. At that moment, I realized that there was something deeper behind this Jewish sage's success, a hidden millennial knowledge about wealth that most people never learn, a powerful principle tested over centuries within Jewish culture, which allowed this community to thrive even in the face of the greatest crises and persecutions. Today, I will reveal the pillars of this hidden secret of Jewish prosperity. But beware, few people have the courage to apply it. This is because, contrary to what many think, building real wealth is not just about making more money, but about thinking, acting, and investing strategically. If you want financial freedom, understand how sustainable wealth works, and learn the real steps to getting rich, then you need to know these teachings. We're not talking about quick tricks, easy schemes, or empty promises. We are talking about a tried and tested method, which has remained strong for generations and which differentiates those who accumulate and multiply wealth from those who live only surviving. The truth is that most people make the same financial mistakes over and over again. They work hard, earn money, but end up spending it all without building real wealth. The problem is not in the lack of opportunities, but in the lack of an efficient system to generate long-term prosperity. Meanwhile, those who have mastered this Jewish wisdom about prosperity follow a completely different path. They do not depend only on daily effort, as they know that wealth is not built only with hard work, but with smart decisions and solid principles. Now, stop and think. What if you could apply these same pillars in your life? What would it be like to know that your money is always growing, that you're on the right path to financial independence, and that every choice you make today is building a legacy of prosperity for you and your family? Does it seem like something far away? Well, it is not. Most strikingly, this Jewish secret of wealth is not hidden in banks, the financial markets, or the closed circles of Wall Street investors. On the contrary, it has always been within the reach of anyone willing to change their way of thinking about money. But here's the point that few can accept. Knowing the secret is not enough. It takes courage to apply it. And this is exactly where most fail. The difference between those who thrive and those who spend their lives struggling financially is not in knowledge, but in action. The question that remains is, are you really ready to change your financial mindset? Are you willing to do what most people don't do to achieve a level of success that few can? I'm sure you're willing to change, so stay with me, because now we're going to get into the 5 hidden pillars of Jewish prosperity that no one has the courage to apply, and that can transform your financial life forever. And for you really want to get out of the average and master the hidden secrets of Jewish prosperity, subscribe now to the channel, because here I reveal principles that are not taught in schools, nor by most financial gurus, but that have transformed the lives of those who had the courage to apply them. Let's start with the first pillar. Pillar 1. The cash principle. Kesef chai. Contrary to what many people believe, accumulating money is not synonymous with building wealth. Keeping large amounts of money in a bank account without a strategic purpose doesn't make anyone really rich. This is one of the most common mistakes when it comes to finances, thinking that financial security just means having a reserve accumulated. What really differentiates those who thrive from those who just survive financially is the ability to make money work in their favor. Within Jewish wisdom about prosperity, there is a powerful principle called Kesef chai, which translates to hard cash. The central idea is simple. Money that does not move is losing value. If it is not generating more money, then in practice, it is dying. This is because inflation erodes purchasing power over time, and opportunities that could be taken advantage of cease to exist. Jews understand that idle money not only devalues itself, but also represents wasted time and energy. If money is treated as a static asset, it becomes a burden, something that needs to be constantly protected. But if it is seen as an engine for growth, then it becomes a powerful instrument for creating new opportunities. That is why, in many Jewish families, Children are taught from an early age that money should always be circulating between investments, businesses, and social impact. This approach allows that, even in times of crisis or economic instability, wealth continues to grow. Now, stop and think. How many people around you leave their money idle for fear of risking? Maybe you've done it yourself. The logic of most people is to save what is left over, without a defined plan, or spend it without thinking about the long term. The problem is that this mindset traps people in the same cycle as always, where money never seems to be enough to truly transform their financial life. The difference between those who get rich and those who stay stagnant is not only in how much they earn, but in how that money is used. The secret is to make sure that every penny has a strategic purpose, whether it is for investment, education, reinvestment in businesses, or the creation of new sources of income. And here's the key point of that principle. The perfect time to act never comes. Many people postpone financial decisions waiting for an ideal situation to start investing or looking for new ways to increase their income. But those who thrive know that often taking a small step today is better than waiting for the perfect opportunity that may never come. The concept of hard cash is also linked to the ability to adapt. If we look at history, we will see that Jews have always faced extreme challenges, wars, economic crises, persecutions, and yet they have always found ways to get back on their feet financially. How was this possible? Because they don't stick to a single path to make money. They diversify. They create networks of opportunities. They understand that money needs to be on the move and not tied to a single job or source of income. This principle explains why so many people who follow this mindset thrive in the world of business and investing. While many limit themselves to a fixed salary and believe that the only way to improve financially is to wait for a raise, those who apply Kesef Chai think differently. They know they need to take control of their own money and create opportunities where other people see only difficulties. So, how can you apply this concept in your financial life? First, stop seeing money as something that should be protected and start seeing it as an engine for growth. This means that, instead of just saving without a plan, you should look for ways to make that money work. Small investments, developing new skills, creating passive income sources. All this makes money always active, always multiplying. Another essential point is to avoid the scarcity mentality. Many people are afraid to invest, to undertake or to try something new because they believe that they can lose what they have. But the truth is that not taking risks is also a risk. Leaving money idle is the equivalent of watching it slowly lose value without generating any returns. Now tell me, have you ever been afraid to invest because you thought you could lose money? Have you ever let opportunities pass you by because you were waiting for the right moment? Comment below and tell me your experience. But what's the point of making money move if you're still stuck in the same patterns that have always kept you in the same place? True prosperity starts when you break through negative financial cycles, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. Pillar 2, the cycle break technique. You, like me, may have spent your entire life repeating the same financial patterns without realizing it. They grow up hearing phrases such as, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Those who are born poor die poor," or "It's better to have a secure job than to take risks," and end up internalizing this mentality as an absolute truth. These limiting beliefs are passed down from generation to generation, creating a negative financial cycle that keeps families stuck in the same reality for decades. But here's the key point. Prosperity is not something inherited only by blood, but mainly by the mentality and financial habits that are passed on. And that is exactly why one of the greatest secrets of Jewish wealth lies in the ability to break cycles and reshape the relationship with money with each generation. Contrary to what many people believe, Jewish families do not prosper simply because they were born rich. On the contrary, throughout history, Jews even faced persecutions, expulsions, and devastating financial losses. They often had to rebuild their lives from scratch in countries where they had nothing. But what really set them apart was their mindset of never repeating the mistakes of the past. If one generation lost everything, the next already knew exactly what not to do to avoid the same fate. This cycle-breaking technique is a powerful principle that anyone can apply, regardless of their current situation. The first step is to identify the negative patterns that have been passed on to you. Did you grow up in an environment where money was always an issue? Where was spending seen as an immediate necessity, with no planning for the future? Or maybe you've learned that wealth is something unattainable, reserved only for a small part of society. These thoughts often go unquestioned, but they are exactly what keep most people stuck in financial stagnation. The difference between those who get rich and those who spend their lives struggling with money lies in the courage to break these patterns and adopt new financial beliefs and habits. And how does this happen in practice? The first change needs to be in the way you deal with money within your own home. Many families, even after reaching a good financial level, continue to teach their children only to work and earn a salary, without ever showing the importance of investing, entrepreneurship, or creating multiple sources of income. Jews, on the other hand, do exactly the opposite. They teach from an early age that money should be used strategically to ensure that the next generations do not go through the same challenges. Another crucial point is to break the cycle of financial ignorance. Most people have never received a true financial education. They learn about history, math, science, but never about how to manage money, how to make smart investments, or how to build solid wealth. This makes each new generation start from scratch, repeating the same mistakes of parents and grandparents. But here's the secret. You may be the first person in your family to change this pattern. If no one before you has learned how to invest, you can be the first to study about it. If no one before knew how to manage money well, you can be the person who will transform this reality. Someone needs to start the change, and that person could be you. Breaking the cycle also involves changing financial habits that harm your prosperity. If you notice that you always spend everything you earn, start creating the habit of saving and investing a part of what you receive. If your family has always avoided talking about money, thinking it is a taboo subject, bring this conversation into everyday life and make financial education a pillar within your home. This is how prosperity ceases to be a random event and becomes a real legacy. The difference between families that remain rich for generations and those that lose everything in a few years is exactly in the way money is taught and managed. You don't have to repeat your family's financial history. You can be the turning point. Now tell me, what financial patterns do you realize have been passed on to you? Has any belief about money prevented you from prospering? Comment below and share your experience. Breaking financial cycles is essential, but true wealth is not in looking rich, but in building a solid and lasting wealth. While many spend to show status, those who truly prosper follow a discreet and powerful principle that I will show you now. Pilar 3. The Code of Quiet Wealth. In a society where ostentation has become synonymous with success, most people spend money trying to look rich, rather than actually building wealth. Consumer culture encourages a lifestyle where social status is measured by luxury cars, designer clothes, and huge houses, often financed with money that doesn't even belong to those who flaunt it. This mentality makes many people work just to sustain an image, without ever accumulating a real asset. Meanwhile, those who follow Jewish financial wisdom understand a powerful principle that keeps them ahead of the curve. True wealth doesn't need to be seen. It needs to be protected and multiplied. This concept is known as Hatznea Lashet, which can be translated as walking discreetly. This principle teaches that prosperity and discretion should go hand in hand, because the less attention you draw to your wealth, the more security and stability you will have. Contrary to what many people think, Jews do not seek to appear rich. They seek to be truly rich. The problem of ostentation goes far beyond the simple desire to show status. When a person spends money just to impress others, they enter a destructive consumption cycle, where their financial decisions are guided by outside opinions rather than sound planning. This leads to debt, impulsive spending, and a constant feeling of always chasing after the next big status symbol. Have you noticed how many people who show off a luxurious life on social media are, in reality, deep in debt? This is because ostentation is almost always a sign of financial insecurity. If you need to prove that you have money, then you may not have achieved real financial freedom yet. Jews, on the other hand, teach that prosperity must be built quietly and strategically. This means that instead of spending money to show wealth, it should be directed towards investments, wealth growth, and long-term security. The idea is not to live a life of deprivation, but rather to ensure that every financial decision has a greater purpose than simply impressing others. This mentality is clearly reflected in how Jewish families deal with money. While many people worry about buying luxury items to demonstrate success, they prioritize financial literacy, real estate, businesses, and investments that generate passive income. That is why, even in times of crisis, the Jewish community continues to thrive, because their wealth is not in what is visible, but rather in what has been strategically built over time. Another essential factor within this code of silent wealth is to understand that money should not be a tool to feed the ego, but rather to guarantee freedom. Having money doesn't necessarily mean living extravagantly, but rather having the power to choose how to live without being tied into debt, jobs you don't like, or suffocating financial obligations. And here's an important question. What is the true definition of success for you? For many people, success means driving an expensive car or living in a mansion. But for those who have truly built wealth, success means waking up every day knowing that they are in control of their own financial life, without depending on a fixed paycheck or the approval of others. The big difference between those who really get rich and those who just appear to be financially well is in the ability to make smart and strategic decisions about money. This means resisting the temptation to spend to impress, focusing on building assets that provide security and freedom in the long run. But how can you apply this principle in your daily life? The first step is to stop making financial decisions based on what others will think. If you feel like you need to buy something just to keep an image, that's a red flag that your money isn't being used in the right way. Another essential point is to prioritize investments and asset growth over immediate consumption. This means that instead of spending on assets that lose value quickly, your focus should be on assets that generate returns and strengthen your financial stability. It is also essential to adopt a low financial profile mindset. This does not mean living as a miserable person or denying oneself comfort, but rather fleeing from the impulse to flaunt wealth without purpose. Truly wealthy people are those who can afford a luxurious life, but choose to live in a balanced way because they understand that financial security is worth more than any momentary status. Pillar 4. The secret of small financial pacts. Prosperity does not happen by chance. Every big financial change starts with small, consistent decisions, and that's one of the most powerful principles within the Jewish mindset about money. Unlike most people who seek to get rich quick or just react to the financial situations of the moment, Jews cultivate an ancient practice called kavana, which means intention behind actions. This concept teaches that in order to achieve real prosperity, you need to make financial commitments to yourself. These pacts aren't just empty resolutions or New Year's resolutions that are forgotten after a few weeks. These are small, consistent strategic decisions that accumulate great results over time. Many people believe that they need a big salary or a stroke of luck to change their lives financially. But the truth is that wealth rarely happens suddenly. What really makes a difference is the ability to maintain solid financial habits over the years. Investing a small amount regularly, saving before spending, avoiding unnecessary debt, all of this creates a compounding effect that transforms your financial reality. The Jews understand this very well. In their communities, it is common for children to learn from childhood to commit themselves financially to small daily acts, saving a percentage of what they earn, donating a portion to charity, reinvesting profits in businesses. These practices create an unshakable financial discipline that accompanies them throughout their lives. Now stop and think. How many times have you tried to change your financial habits but gave up because it seemed difficult or because the results didn't come fast enough? This is the problem with the immediatist mentality. Many people want radical change in a short time, but end up discouraged because they can't see instant progress. The secret of Jewish prosperity lies in understanding that financial progress is not an isolated event, but rather the sum of small decisions made continuously. And here's something few people realize. The most powerful financial commitment isn't the one you make to the bank, but the one you make to yourself. If you don't have the discipline to follow your own financial pacts, you will never be able to build a solid wealth. That's why small commitments, such as setting aside a fixed percentage of your money for investments or avoiding superfluous expenses, are so important. They create a personal financial system that prevents you from falling into the same traps that most people fall into. Let's talk about how this works in practice. Imagine two people with the same income. The first earns, pays the bills, spends what is left over, and, if there is an unforeseen event, gets into debt. The second establishes a simple financial pact. Save 10% of everything you receive before spending it on anything else. At first, this habit may seem insignificant, but after a few years, the difference between them will be huge. And it's not just about saving money. It's about directing resources to something that brings financial return in the future. Many people say they can't save, but the truth is that they can't prioritize. There's always money to buy new things, to dine out, to subscribe to streaming services. The problem is not the lack of resources, but the lack of a real commitment to one's own financial future. Financial pacts work because they automate decisions. When you set clear financial rules for yourself, you avoid relying on willpower to make good decisions. For example, if every time you receive a payment you have to manually decide how much you will save, invest, or spend, the chances of failing are high. But if you already have a system in place, where 10% automatically goes to investments, 5% is reserved for learning and personal growth, and a fixed percentage is allocated to donations, your money starts working for you without you having to think about it all the time. This practice not only creates discipline, but also reinforces a prosperity mindset. When you commit to these small financial pacts and stick to them, your confidence in money changes completely. You begin to see that you don't need luck to get rich, but rather strategy and consistency. Now tell me, have you ever made any financial commitments to yourself? What financial habit do you believe you need to develop to transform your reality? Comment below. I want to know your opinion. Establishing small financial pacts with discipline is a fundamental step towards prosperity. But there is an even more powerful element that Jews use to align their financial actions with a greater purpose. It's not enough to just plan and act. You need to connect your intentions with a deeper meaning. And that's exactly what the next pillar teaches: how to transform your relationship with money through the power of practical prayer. Pillar 5. The power of practical prayer. Most people believe that financial prosperity is the result of hard work, planning, and good decisions. Although these factors are essential, there is one element that few take into account, and that makes all the difference for those who really prosper: the spiritual connection with money. Within Jewish wisdom about wealth, money is never seen solely as a means of survival or hoarding, but as a tool that must be aligned with a greater purpose. This is why Jews not only do financial planning, but they also integrate practical prayer as an essential part of their decisions about money. Contrary to what many think, they do not just pray for wealth, but use this moment for mental clarity, strategy, and making the right decisions. Many successful millionaires, investors, and entrepreneurs, Jewish or not, use this same approach without even realizing it. What they do is a practice of visualization and mental alignment before making big decisions. This is because the way you see money and the relationship you establish with it directly influence your financial choices. If you see money as something scarce, difficult to earn, and dangerous to manage, your actions will always be taken with fear and hesitation. But if you believe that money can be an instrument of growth, freedom, and contribution to something greater, your way of dealing with it changes completely. And here is the point that few understand. It is not just about faith, but about mental reprogramming. Jews use prayer not only as a plea for divine help, but as a time of strategic reflection, where they evaluate their financial actions, align their intentions, and mentally project their desired outcomes. This practice allows your decisions to be made with more confidence, less impulsivity, and more direction. Now stop and think. How many financial decisions have you made driven by emotion, fear, or pressure? How many times have you spent money without a real reason or invested without being clear about what you were doing? The lack of a moment of reflection before acting makes many people regret it later. But imagine what it would be like if, before every big financial decision, you took a few minutes to reflect, align your thoughts, and visualize the results. This principle can be applied in different ways on a daily basis. Before making a large investment, starting a new business, or even spending a significant amount on something you want, take a moment to reflect on this decision. Ask yourself, is this aligned with my purpose? Does it bring me closer to financial freedom? Or does it just satisfy a momentary desire? Will this choice help me build something lasting? Or am I just following the emotion of the moment? Mental visualization of financial success is also a powerful practice within this concept. Jews believe that by aligning their thoughts with prosperity, They create an energy field that favors good decisions and opportunities. And this isn't just a religious belief. Several studies on neuroscience show that the way we think directly impacts our behaviors and outcomes. People who constantly see themselves as prosperous, who believe they can build wealth, and who view money positively, tend to make smarter financial decisions. Meanwhile, those who carry negative beliefs about money, who believe that they will never be able to get out of debt, or that prosperity is not for them, unconsciously sabotage their own chances of growth. And here's something that can change your financial life forever. Money goes where there is a clear purpose. If you don't set a specific goal for your wealth, it never holds up or grows. That's why many people earn well, but lose everything quickly, because they haven't directed their finances towards a structured purpose. When Jews pray about money, they don't do so in a vague way, just asking for prosperity. They mentalize exactly where they want to go, what financial legacy they want to leave to their families, and how they intend to use their resources to contribute to the world. This practice creates a powerful effect. By defining a purpose, all your decisions are aligned with it, avoiding unnecessary and impulsive spending. Now I want you to stop for a moment and think, what is your financial purpose? Do you have a clear vision of where you want to be in the next 5 or 10 years? Do you know exactly why you want to thrive? If you don't have those answers yet, now is the time to start defining them. Apply this principle by starting with small steps. Before spending or investing a significant amount, take a few minutes to reflect and visualize the results. Imagine your financial life improving, your debts being eliminated, your income growing, and your wealth increasing. The clearer your vision, the easier it will be to make decisions that align with it. Now that you know the 5 hidden pillars of Jewish prosperity, you have powerful knowledge in your hands that can completely change your relationship with money. But here's the most important detail. Knowing these principles isn't enough. You need to apply them. Most people consume content about finance, read books, watch videos, but in the end, they don't put anything into practice. They keep repeating the same habits that keep them stuck in the same financial cycle. But those who truly thrive understand that true change happens when you take action, even if it's with small steps. Now, I want to know from you, which of these principles made the most sense for your life? Do you already practice any of them? Or do you intend to start now? Comment below and share your experience. And here's a challenge. If you start implementing these principles today, in a few months you can see significant changes in your financial life. It may seem like a small thing at first, but the cumulative effect of these decisions can completely transform your trajectory. If you've come this far, it's because you're really looking for a transformation in your financial life. And here's a fact that no one tells you. People who thrive don't just consume knowledge. They surround themselves with the right information, the right strategies, and the right circle. That's why it's extremely important that you keep learning more secrets from the Jews that will lead you to financial freedom. And for that, make sure you're already subscribed to the channel. Here I share valuable principles that most people overlook. But that can make all the difference for those who have the courage to apply. Now that you know these powerful principles, imagine the impact they can have when combined with financial habits that Jewish millionaires apply every day. In the next video, I'll reveal exactly what these habits are and how you can start using them right away to accelerate your journey to riches. Don't miss this opportunity. Click now and watch.